I mean, the key points in promoting growth, because sustainable, we have, if we speak about sustainability, we talk about these three streams there: economic sustainability, social sustainability, and environmental sustainability. In environmental sustainability, the central bank uh, doesn't have a real power to do anything about it. But in economic sustainability, definitely we are working on that. Uh, we we are working with the inclusive payment system. We are working toward a more accessible credit for everyone, especially for the more vulnerable. And because, as I mentioned before, sustainability and stability work hand in hand together, and we cannot talk about the two things separately. And then for the how macroeconomics policies work with green economics, I think it's already answered in the sustainability, as it is not our mandate, but we are still doing it. It is still important for us, because it affect the whole economic system simultaneously. But definitely it's not our mandate. So maybe the how macroeconomics, it is, well, addressing your question directly, macroeconomics and we are doing research. I'm from Bank Indonesia Institute. We are our one of our main duty is to do research relating to one of them is the green economics. So it is one of our main duty to relate green economics with macroeconomics. So yeah, I think that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sodam. I think from a question from Royan, can you answer this question? What kind of sustainability aspect that interesting to be analyzed for research? Do you have any recommendation, Dr. Sondang? The research topic in sustainability that could be interesting to be analyzed as a research topic.
Uh, it 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 is very probable to be on our research topic, because we have a broad topics actually from because actually anything can relate to the economics, and everything that needed to economics is related to the central bank. So we have research frontier, where if people look from the outside, it seems to be not related to the central bank, but eventually it will relate to the central bank in a very thin line actually. But we are doing it, is in our mandate actually.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Dr. Sondang. Central banks, as you know, it control the money supply. And is there any regulation such as controlling for instance, the reserve requirement? For instance, give the incentives to the banking industry when we can control the reserve requirement, increase reserve requirement by targeted the banking sector to give the credit into the green energy sectors. That could be possible, right, from central bank?
The requirement is the regulation is already there. We call it KLM, kebijakan insentif likuiditas makroprudensial. So there is the reserve. We have incentive for the banks if they give credits to the green businesses and MSMEs. It is quite quite on a good side for the banks. But actually with this environment where credit growth is not very high, Um,
The impact is still.
yeah, because the credit demand is not there
Yeah.
actually.
All right.
So yeah, well,
I think it is still a risky business for the banking industry to be taking part in.
it is risky, but according to the banks, the demand is not there. So they cannot make use of the incentive because the demand actually it is not for only green business and MSMEs. It is for every line of business, but SMMEs in particular is a very high risk business because um, first they don't have the enough guarantee, they don't have enough financial statement. Banks cannot really work on analyzing their capability to repay the loan, and unfortunately the non-performing loan is very high.
Very high.
So yeah, it is a challenge for all of us.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sondang, for the perspective. And I think we still lost contact with the Professor Asyal. I tried to reach him, but still hasn't any
Yeah,
reply for him. Professor
I'm
Asyal?
still here. I'm still
Oh,
here.
I'm sorry, because you turn off your camera. So, uh, there are some questions addressed to you. One is related to how to explain the mechanism transmission uh, that relate the inequality of income that can lead to inequality of wealth. And also a question from Ms. Poppy. Do we need the specific definition for MSMEs in, sorry, do we have a specific definition for sustainability if we're talking about the MSMEs? I think those two questions are addressed to you also, Professor Asia.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will start with the income inequality, wealth inequality link. Well, nowadays, like in this century or this decade, we need more money because we've got more needs. I mean, 30 years ago, we didn't need internet connection. 30 years ago, the world was not that globalized. We didn't need extra English lessons for our kids, right? So if there's income inequality, that means if you do not have your income, then you need to sell your possessions, either land or your possession. That leads to inequality in wealth, consequently. That's how it works. And when it comes to definition of sustainable economy, I mean, for example, in my opinion, each definition should be done in accordance with the need. Why do you need to define? For what purpose? If you describe me, you can say that this is someone with glasses, but you wouldn't know how long I have been wearing glasses and for what reasons. So for each definition, even for small and medium enterprises, we need to ask the question for what purpose will define. And thirdly, for any economic policy, we need a good definition of intended outcome. What is our purpose? What do we need? And how we design the incentives. Okay? How do we incentivize this policy? And how we will measure eligibility and success. This is very important. This is where developing economy or developing countries fail due to fraud or corruption. And then finally, reward. How we will reward those companies. And how that reward serves the broad society. I think any good policy should be clear on those four fronts. And also, I mean, I've got a couple of notes here. For example, nuclear power plant, it was also mentioned. I mean, nuclear power plant, if maintained securely, it is the cheapest option. Even though some countries in Europe, like Germany, decided to close power plant, but still they needed those power plants. Zero net emission is very optimistic. I don't think it will be reached anytime soon. And for the involvement of small and medium enterprise in globalization, they cannot be a part of like this production for globalization, but they get involved in some activities for those companies who or what they will produce internationally. So they offer services for those big companies, even though they are not directly a part of globalization. We should also remember that. And I mean, all this discussion comes to a point actually how we will find funds for this transition. I mean, in case of many countries, they issue, including Indonesia, they also issue green bonds, sukuk. And if those bonds are, I mean, clearly designed, and if it serves a purpose, I think it will be a good way of funding green transition. Again, but what is really important, how you will incentivize companies, how will you measure the eligibility, how will you measure success, and how you will reward them. These are very important steps. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Asyok, for the answer. So again, it is instead of definition, the important is giving the incentives and reward in order to motivate the MSMEs to engage in more sustainable development and issues. And I think as we still have time, I think one question from the audience on Zoom. Is there any question? You can raise your hand. Is there any participants in Zoom? Afan Abdurrahman, you can start your question and please be concise and clear, and which speaker you are addressed to regarding your questions. Please, Afan Abdurrahman, you can start your question right now.
Great, thank you very much. First of all, thank you very much for our respected speakers. My name is Afnan.
Can you speak louder, please? We cannot hear any sound from you.
Okay, 1 minute. Can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes?
Can you hear me?
The Egypt, okay.
Can you hear me?
A little bit louder.
Okay, I think the problem is with the microphone, but is it clear now?
We still can hear you quite. Or you can write your question on chat box, and I can deliver the questions to the speakers.
I will try to write the questions.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here is the question from Afnan Abdurrahman. She already for Mrs. Sondang. The question is, how does Bank Indonesia ensure that this improvement genuinely strengthen the macro foundation of MSMEs owners and translate into sustainable business performance, rather than merely increasing account ownership or access to financial service. So those policy improvement to strengthen the micro foundation of MSME's owner, how it is genuinely improved rather than only the the account of ownership of the MSMEs through the financial service. And also what strategy that need to be taken into account to specific needs of women entrepreneurs when often sometimes they often face the greater barriers in accessing capital, business network, and capacity buildings.
Thank you, Ms. Afnan. Bank Indonesia works with our regional offices all over Indonesia closely with hundreds of SMMEs to strengthen their foundations and not merely increasing the number of SMMEs that work sustainably. So, for example, in Bank Indonesia organize once in a year MSME, like SMME carnival in Jakarta, in which SMMEs from all over Indonesia are brought with at the cost of Bank Indonesia to Jakarta so they can expand their market, promote their products, and making new businesses. So it's not only increasing the number of MSMEs, but helping them grow and become independent. Because sometimes MSMEs cannot grow because they don't have the market network. They don't have the capital for promoting their products. So one of our initiative is that big market in Jakarta, in center Jakarta, so that it is accessible to because the majority of Indonesian businesses and Indonesian population lives in Jakarta. So that is one way to ensure that. The other ways are regional offices is actively seeking and pursuing MSMEs that have potential but lack of capital. So regional offices will support in trainings, even machines. So they work head on head together to make them more independent and bigger and become more globally known. So if that answers your questions.
And the last, I think, how Bank Indonesia central banks promote the role of women in the women entrepreneurship.
The role of women. I'm not really sure if we have special program for women, but there are MSMEs that, as far as I know, SMMEs that entirely consist of women, because women who doesn't work former works usually support their families with informal jobs, and they usually work together. And as I know a regional office that support this group of women, so it is not a special like project that we mentioned that women is should be help uh, with special treatment, but any kind of SMMEs that have potential is will come to our radar actually.
All right. Thank you for the answer, Dr. Sondang. And unfortunately, we have no time for another questions because we need to close our session. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as we now come to the end of this plenary discussion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all participants for your thoughtful question and active engagement. And most importantly, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our distinguished speaker, Dr. Ratno Purnomo, Dr. Sondang Marsintauli Panggabean, and Professor Pulan Eshiok. Thank you very much for sharing your valuable knowledge, experience, and insight with all of us today. So, next, then, I'm pleased to hand the session back to the Master of Ceremony for the next agenda. Again, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Sincere appreciation to Mr. Fard for concluding the plenary session. Let us now continue with the next agenda. We would like to express our appreciation for the speakers and moderator, which will be delivered by Professor Vivek Rabiatul Adawiya. And this is also the certificate for our speakers from Turkey for Professor Bolan Eshok. Thank you, Professor Vivek, for presenting the certificate.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And thank you for our speakers for your excellent presentation and valuable insights. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have now reached the end of the plenary session, before we move on, allow us to share a video to commemorate our sponsors, which are KAI, BPJS Ketenagakerjaan, and BPKH.
Climate change has become a key topic on the agenda of the IMF, World Bank annual meetings, and the G20 Forum, reflecting the urgency of global collaboration. Indonesia and the other nations are coming together to formulate policy responses that ensure economic resilience while mitigating climate-related threats. Bank Indonesia as central bank has a strategic role in mitigating climate change risk related to financial system stability and supporting the green economy. Indonesia, due to its vulnerability to ecological impacts, is compelled to take an active role in mitigating and adapting to climate change. A green finance initiatives present a pathway to sustainable growth, particularly through the energy, forestry, and agriculture sectors. Green finance plays a significant role through instruments such as green credit, carbon tax, and sustainable bonds. Indonesia is firmly committed to scaling up investment in eco-friendly sectors, guided by the principle of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG. However, challenges remain, such as limited access to green technology and gaps in public awareness regarding sustainability concept. The limited availability of supporting infrastructure also remain a significant obstacle. This book presents the roadmap for green economy and finance implementation and is expected to serve as a reference for policymakers, industry, scholars, and society at large in fostering a sustainable economy.
Indonesia, with its more than 17,000 islands, is a big archipelago country. On August 17, 2022, Indonesia issued a new series of rupiah banknotes comprises 7 denominations. The rupiah has become more than a medium of exchange in Indonesia. It is also a symbol of national identity, sovereignty, and pride. Bank Indonesia employs the following sophisticated and state-of-the-art security features in the 2022 rupiah banknote series. Altogether, the elements combine beauty, security, and durability. Rapid HD detects microlenses security threats with dynamic motion effects to prevent counterfeiting, appearing in the Kawang batik motifs, an Indonesian cultural legacy. OVMI Spark, which is the embedded security elements with dynamic color changing and motion effects, strengthening rupiah security with the unique appearance of the moon orchid endemic to Indonesia. Ultraviolet UV fluorescence and phosphorant technology, which produces a wider variety of colors along the broader UV illumination and contrast, depicting the cultural beauty of Indonesia and preventing counterfeiting. The luminescence of each island specific to the birthplace of the national hero, adorning each rupiah banknote, adding uniqueness to the design. Moreover, aimed to prolong its circulation lifespan of small denomination banknotes, the 5,000 rupiah, 2,000 rupiah, and 1,000 rupiah denominations have seen significant improvement by using innovative coating technology to increase its thickness, making transactions more comfortable and convenient. A combination of excellent designs, enhanced technologies, and solid materials, enveloped in historical value and cultural uniqueness of Indonesia, makes the 2022 rupiah banknote series more secure, trusted, and fit for circulation. The theme of the reviewed banknotes is Uniting Diversity, representing the diverse culture and beautiful landscapes of Indonesia as an archipelago country.
Indonesia is accelerating a massive expansion of cross-border QR payments across Asia, from Thailand, Malaysia, and Singapore to Japan and South Korea. Today marks a new chapter as this expansion network reaches People's Republic of China. Indonesia and People's Republic of China, two major economic powers, are now entering a new era of digital payment connectivity, bringing their ecosystems closer than ever before. Cross-border QR payments are now becoming a daily reality, seamless, instant, and borderless for travelers and businesses in both countries. Through the Indonesia People's Republic of China cross-border QR payment linkage, users can now transact directly using their domestic apps, marking a breakthrough in interoperable digital payment systems. This large-scale expansion unlocks new growth opportunities, empowering MSMEs, boosting tourism, and strengthening trade and investment flows between Indonesia and People's Republic of China. It also reinforces local currency usage and builds a more resilient and inclusive financial ecosystem. This is just the beginning. Together, we are shaping a new era of interconnected, scalable, and inclusive cross-border digital payments. Indonesia and People's Republic of China, now connected in a new chapter of cross-border QR payments linkage.
Mereka bekerja seperti
Excellencies, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a meaningful session this morning, and we really appreciate your time and attention. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to thank all the speakers, moderator, and participants for your active engagement. Huge appreciation to KAI, BPJS Ketenagakerjaan, and BPKH as our sponsors, and to the co-hosts for the meaningful support and contribution to this event. Please accept our sincere apologies for any shortcomings or inconveniences throughout the session. And before we conclude the session, for all the participants, we have a few announcements to share. We kindly ask your attention as we go through these important notices. First, please kindly fill out the certificate form through the link provided. Please ensure that your name and email details are entered correctly as it will be used for certificate issuance. Second, please fulfill the evaluation form for our speaker, Mrs. Sondang. It will be shared in the chat room, and for the participants here, you may scan the barcode on the screen. And third, the next session is the online call for paper, which will be begin at 1 p.m. Excellencies, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the end of the plenary session of ICSEMA 2026. As host and committee, we'd like to extend once again our deepest appreciation to all of you for your support and participation, wishing you continued health and safety. See you again in the next ICSEMA 2027. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Climate change has become a key topic on the agenda of the IMF, World Bank annual meetings, and the G20 Forum, reflecting the urgency of global collaboration. Indonesia and the other nations are coming together to formulate policy responses that ensure economic resilience while mitigating climate-related threats. Bank Indonesia as central bank has a strategic role in mitigating climate change risk related to financial system stability and supporting the green economy. Indonesia, due to its vulnerability to ecological impacts, is compelled to take an active role in mitigating and adapting to climate change. A green finance initiatives present a pathway to sustainable growth, particularly through the energy, forestry, and agriculture sectors. Green finance plays a significant role through instruments such as green credit, carbon tax, and sustainable bonds. Indonesia is firmly committed to scaling up investment in eco-friendly sectors, guided by the principle of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG.
Pengumuman izin mengingatkan sekali lagi untuk mengisi link penilaian untuk partner kami yaitu Bank Indonesia, dan untuk teman-teman partisipan sekalian akan ada link sertifikat setelah ini, jadi diharapkan untuk tidak keluar ruangan terlebih dahulu. Terima kasih.
This book presents the roadmap for green economy and finance implementation and is expected to serve as a reference for policymakers, industry, scholars, and society. Climate change has become a key topic on the agenda of the IMF, World Bank annual meetings, and the G20 Forum, reflecting the urgency of global collaboration. Indonesia and the other nations are coming together to formulate policy responses that ensure economic resilience while mitigating climate-related threats. Bank Indonesia as central bank has a strategic role in mitigating climate change risk related to financial system stability and supporting the green economy. Indonesia, due to its vulnerability to ecological impacts, is compelled to take an active role in mitigating and adapting to climate change. A green finance initiatives present a pathway to sustainable growth, particularly through the energy, forestry, and agriculture sectors. Green finance plays a significant role through instruments such as green credit, carbon tax, and sustainable bonds. Indonesia is firmly committed to scaling up investment in eco-friendly sectors, guided by the principle of environmental, social, and governance, or ESG. However, challenges remain, such as limited access to green technology and gaps in public awareness regarding sustainability concept. The limited availability of supporting infrastructure also remain a significant obstacle. This book presents the roadmap for green economy and finance implementation and is expected to serve as a reference for policymakers, industry, scholars, and society at large in fostering a sustainable economy.
Indonesia, with its more than 17,000 islands, is a big archipelago country. On August 17, 2022, Indonesia issued a new series of rupiah banknotes comprises 7 denominations. The rupiah has become more than a medium of exchange in Indonesia. It is also a symbol of national identity, sovereignty, and pride. Bank Indonesia employs the following sophisticated and state-of-the-art security features in the 2022 rupiah banknote series. Altogether, the elements combine beauty, security, and durability. Rapid HD detects microlenses security threats with dynamic motion effects to prevent counterfeiting, appearing in the Kawang batik motifs, an Indonesian cultural legacy. OVMI Spark, which is the embedded security elements with dynamic color changing and motion effects, strengthening rupiah security with the unique appearance of the moon orchid endemic to Indonesia. Ultraviolet UV fluorescence and phosphorant technology, which produces a wider variety of colors along the broader UV illumination and contrast, depicting the cultural beauty of Indonesia and preventing counterfeiting. The luminescence of each island specific to the birthplace of the national hero, adorning each rupiah banknote, adding uniqueness to the design. Moreover, aimed to prolong its circulation lifespan of small denomination banknotes, the 5,000 rupiah, 2,000 rupiah, and 1,000 rupiah denominations have seen significant improvement by using innovative coating technology to increase its thickness, making transactions more comfortable and convenient. A combination of excellent designs, enhanced technologies, and solid materials, enveloped in historical value and cultural uniqueness of Indonesia, makes the 2022 rupiah banknote series more secure, trusted, and fit for circulation. The theme of the reviewed banknotes is Uniting Diversity, representing the diverse culture and beautiful landscapes of Indonesia as an archipelago country.